Well, my first slide is supposed to be redefining the importance of breasts. And it's a little bit of a taboo topic, but breasts are pretty important to me. First, I'm a woman. Secondly, I'm a pageant queen. I'm a full-time model. I make my money on my body. I'm cashing in on my boobs. So when they asked me to come and give this speech, they said, you don't have to be the foremost expert on your topic, but you got to be an expert. So I'm going to consider myself a breast expert. And so, I wasn't always a breast expert, 10 years ago, I was 15. This is me. That's a great photo, right? At 15, like every 15-year-old girl, I wanted three things. And that was to marry Brad Pitt, it was to not have pimples, and it was to finally get boobs. And so, at 15, breasts are everything. Every girl's thinking, oh my God, when am I gonna get them? Every guy's thinking, oh my God, when's she gonna get them? It's a pretty difficult time, but breasts are important because they're everywhere. You can't get away from them. They're on the cover of magazines, they're in TV, the Mona Lisa has some cleavage. But why are they so important? They're important because of what they represent. And breasts are a pretty powerful thing. Breasts help nurture and feed a child. Breasts are an iconic part of the female body. But breasts also have the power to kill you. This is my mom. 27 years old, my mom was on top of the world. She's studying her second master's degree at the University of Hawaii. She's a marathon runner. She's incredibly athletic, and she's beautiful. And after feeling run down for a couple weeks, she goes and sees a doctor. A couple tests, and a few more weeks later, diagnosis is in: breast cancer. Stage 3 ductal carcinoma, 27 years old. The first thing my mom thought wasn't, oh my God, I have cancer. It wasn't, am I going to die? It's, I'm not married, I don't have kids, and what man is ever gonna love me with one breast? It's a pretty scary thought at 27 when, a big part of your life is identified in being a woman, part of your body. But luckily, 5 years later, my mom met my dad, who promised her that having one breast didn't faze him one bit because he was a leg guy. He's a good man. So, as years go by, 2 kids later, my dad starts talking to my mom, and he starts saying, your other breast, it's a ticking time bomb. Let's get rid of it. I don't care what you look like. I want you to be around for the next 50 years. And my mom didn't do it. And she didn't do it because, to her, being a woman meant having breasts. And my mom wanted to be a woman. And so in April of 2000, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer again. Again, stage 3. And on June 3rd of 2004, 1 month after my 16th birthday, my mom died of her breast cancer. So why would a woman who lost her own mother to breast cancer, lost her aunt to breast cancer, faced a battle with breast cancer before, knew what that meant, the psychological, emotional, physical stress of dealing with cancer, decide to keep her breast when, she's faced with some pretty damning odds? And it's because of how my mom defined herself. Like I said, my mom considered herself a woman, and to remain a woman, she needed to have breasts. So, my speech is on the power of redefining breasts. And how do you do that when breasts are such an iconic thing in society? They're iconic to everybody. And I think to do that, you have to make a pretty powerful statement. And so that's what I tried to do. In November of last year, I think I shocked the world with 3 words, and that was prophylactic bilateral mastectomy. And I think what shocked people first was that a beauty queen knew how to spell that, and then secondly, what that entailed. Someone like me, I'm known exclusively for my body, not for my brain, not for anything else I observe, for my body. I'm a pageant queen. I walk on stage in my bikini, we're scored on that, we're scored on all of these things that have to do with our physical body. I make my money, I pay my bills on my body. And so some people thought that was pretty radical. Someone like you is going to make that big, drastic, big decision. And so I had my fair share of people that were incredibly positive, that sent me nice motivational messages. You're making the right decision. You're a role model. You're an icon. And then I got a couple of these, which is pretty funny. Nobody laughed at that. Come on, guys, that's funny. And people were pretty offended. But for me, it was all about perspective. And my dad sat me down when I was 18, and he brought up the idea of having a mastectomy. And at first I said, Dad, you know what I look like at 15. Finally I got something working for me. I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? And he said, because you're going to end up dead, 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 just like your mom. And it's a pretty powerful thing for a dad to say to a daughter, especially after I just lost my mom 2 years before. But it took some time for me to realize, what that meant and why he had to be that aggressive with me. And it's because I needed to know what was important in my life, and I needed to have perspective. But I struggled with that. I said, do I have a beautiful life or do I have a beautiful body? And society told me that I couldn't have both. And so that's when I decided to take the next step, which was realize that femininity and beauty are a concept. And there's something that you get the chance to define. And to me, being beautiful is being a good mother someday. It's being a good wife. It's not having to tell my 16-year-old daughter that she's going to have to spend the rest of her life without her mom. So I'm not here to say that breasts aren't important. They're important. And I'm not here to tell everybody in the room that they're not, or that they should run out and go get a mastectomy. And I'm blonde, I'm a beauty queen, I'm not that great at math, but this is my diagram for one boob still equals a woman. And for all the women like my mom out there, I think that's an important thing. Your breasts don't define your femininity, and they don't define your womanhood. And I'm also not here to tell the boob guys in the room to stop liking them. They're great, they're beautiful, that's okay. I want you to have perspective about what are important and how you define yourself and you define the things in your life. I know that reading back through my mom's journals, the central theme was, I'm so sorry to leave you. And she would have given up every penny that she had, every part of her body, to not leave her most precious job of raising her kids unfinished. And unfortunately for her, hindsight was 20/20. But you all have the opportunity to make those decisions in your life now, to redefine the way you look at things and to have perspective. Thank you.